Hi, this is James. Wanted to welcome you back to the comfort room, a place where you can actually just look within and actually take an introspective look in terms of what's going on around you in your life. And also it gives me an opportunity to kind of share what's going on with me. And I was speaking the other day with my aunt on the phone. We was having a really good conversation. And the conversation was like on one of many of our various topics that we can go on. But one of the most important things that kind of stuck out to me is we were just talking about life in general. And I realized that some of the things that were happening within my life is because I realized that I was out of alignment. And what I mean by out of alignment was I was not lining up myself according to what God wanted me to do and where He wants to direct my future. And not only just in terms of being out of alignment with everything else, but I realized that when you are out of alignment with God, everything else around you does not line up as well. Everything seems to be out of sync. You seem to be out of sync. You seem to be just constantly running, trying to catch up. You just never seem to catch up. You just always still seems like every time when you take 5 steps ahead, you get knocked 10 steps back. And you start to look at that. If yesterday is the same as today, then that means there has been no growth in some areas in your life. And I looked at that with myself. And some of the things that have been falling apart with myself internally as well as around me is because I realized I was out of alignment. And not only was I out of alignment, I was also not placing people who had a purpose with that alignment. And what I mean by that is that you always have to be very careful in terms of who you allow around you, because you can't surround yourself with people who don't have a purpose. And that's not negating anybody, and that's not shoving anybody to the side. But I think it comes a point in time when you have to start to look within and realize, okay, where do I need to go? How do I want my life to be? Will I continue to live a mediocre life, or will I continue to move on to something better? And lately, I've just been kind of doing a lot of self-searching and just looking within. And speaking with my aunt about that, it just kind of just stuck out in my head. And I said to her, I said, this is one of the great topics in terms of realizing that we have to make sure that we place people with a purpose around us. And it also has to not just be any kind of purpose, but also has to be a purpose that fuels you, it fuels them, but it also has to be God-centered. Anything that does not have God in the center is just not going to really work. And everything else out of that just really won't come together. And it was like a profound experience in terms of just kind of realizing that and looking within myself and then talking with my aunt about that. And we both was kind of like, wow, that's really a good topic to talk about. And today's topic is about that. It's all about being out of alignment. And you start to feel when you're out of alignment when you just don't feel like anything else is going right for you. You start having, you just don't feel like you ever get ahead. You still feel like you just, like I said, you're just trying to catch up, but you just never ever seem to catch up. You're always tired. You always have a lackadaisical attitude. You start to, the things that you used to care about, you don't care about anymore. You stop focusing on your passion and the things that gave you joy. And that's an issue at hand. And I found that I stopped talking. I stopped talking to God in some point. And unbeknownst to me, just realized it's because I was out of alignment. And He has a way of bringing you back and showing you exactly in terms of how out of alignment you are. Because you can be out of alignment just with your sheer, by the choices you make. You make irrational decisions. You don't step out of your comfort zone. And you kind of let somebody else do the spiritual heavy lifting for you as opposed to you doing the heavy lifting for yourself. And with that being said, is you start to realize that, hey, you know what? I'm not doing what I'm called to do. And not everybody is aligned with your purpose. And that's sometimes you have to take a step back and look what's around you, who's around you, and will they feed that purpose? Will they feed your growth? Will they feed your life? and vice versa. Because you have to understand that you can't come into somebody's life and be a curse. You have to come into someone's life and be a blessing. And you can't be a blessing to someone else if you're broken. And I mean, if you're completely broken, how can you uplift anyone else if you haven't even taken the time to go within, to look within, to fix within, so you can be, in more words than one, so you can be better, not just for yourself, but for someone else and just for the world. But you can also extend really your light, the light that God places in you, you can really extend that out to others who may not necessarily know what their light is, or who has allowed the world to snuff out that divine light. Or we sometimes tend to dim our divine light at cost for someone else who is not seeking their purpose. And, you know, with that being said, it's just like you do have to take the time to like have that quiet time. You have to have that quiet time where you just spend with yourself. Spend it with God. Just talk to him. Just, you know, let him know what's going on, what you feel, how, you know, how tore down those days are. Because there are days when, yeah, the world just gets you. It just can grind you to a fault. And that's when you have to spend that quiet time. And that's when you have to go within. Put down the phone, turn the TV off, just sit outside or sit in your home and just kind of just take the opportunity just to talk to him, even read, and go in prayer. Because let me tell you something, lately it has really been helpful, even for me. And I can honestly tell you right now that for myself, that each time when I spend quiet time and I just kind of just talk with God and I just kind of just go within, each time after it I feel better and I feel good and I feel a purpose and I feel the promise that he has placed in me is something that is really fueling me to continue to move forward in my own life. And honestly, you can't climb a mountain if you don't have the tools. And the tools are the things that, the spiritual gifts that God give you. We spend so much time drowning out the gifts that we don't even realize what we have. And if you don't know what you have, then pray on it. Ask him to reveal it to you. Ask him to show it to you. Ask him to like lead the path, show you the path. It takes nothing. And the wild thing about it is that he wants to help you so much that, you know, he's literally walking with you every single day, that he's screaming to you that let me help you, let me help you, let me show you. But we keep trying to do it ourselves. And I've been definitely guilty of that myself. Honestly, I've been guilty of that myself in trying to do it myself. And each time that I try to do it myself, I realize that the more it just all falls apart because of bad choices, bad decisions, bad attitude, you know, and everything else that just does not bring out the best in who I am. And I learned that at some point in time, you know, you got to shed that and you just got to give it over to him and give it to God and just let him take the wheel and say, Jesus, take the wheel. Because you know what? A lot of times he's a better driver than you are. And I can honestly tell you that you will never regret it in terms of looking within and aligning your purpose to where God wants to direct you. And if you don't know your path, pray to him on it. He will always show you, especially when you are in the quiet moments. And with that being said, you can't go wrong. Learn from him. Let him guide you. And in many ways, he'll lead you. The last time I looked, he says, I'll never abandon you. So, you know what? Don't abandon him. Lord knows we've done that so many times. But and just as I leave out on this, the people who don't have or have not developed or to try to find their purpose are the ones who will always try to snuff out your light. Those are the ones who will always be very negative. Those are the ones who will always try to tear you down. Those are always the ones who will always try to say you can't do it. Or they will always try to put blocks and tear you down in a way that, again, diminishes their own life, because since their life has been diminished, they work very hard to try to diminish yours. And that's why it's very important that you cannot align yourself with those who don't know their light, those who don't know their purpose, and those who are not even trying to seek their purpose. That's the key right there. Be careful in who you align yourself with, because not everyone is in alignment with you. Not everyone is in alignment with the purpose that God has given them. And on that note, take the time. Spend the quiet time. This is your boy Jamey.W, calling you from the comfort room. Talk to you later. Bye.